Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Attorney Diane Azores. You can address me as Attorney D. So first, I'd like to thank Rex Bookstore for arranging this webinar. I'm really happy that I'm given the chance to help future lawyers, although online, in their preparation for the bar exams. So today is the 1st of June. Normally during this time, the formal pre-bar review classes already commenced. But due to the social and economic disruption brought about by the COVID-19, the Supreme Court had to postpone the bar exams. Nonetheless, the preparations for the bar exam should not be postponed as well. So, this afternoon, my goal is to somehow help our aspiring lawyers in their study of law amid the pandemic. Okay, let's start. Okay. It was December 2018 when it hit me. I will take the bar exam next year. So the question lingering in my mind is, am I ready? Doubt and fears started to creep in. I felt anxious and helpless. I don't know where to start. I started gathering my reviewers, and pile after pile, I felt more and more afraid. The question that I would like to ask is, how do you review everything in just 6 months? So I took a deep breath and realized that I can do it through proper, smart, and systematic preparation. So ayan, the question we will answer this afternoon is, how do you prepare for the bar? Okay. The answer to that actually is preparation starts in law school. So the moment you enter law school, you are already gearing towards becoming a lawyer. And the only way to do it is to pass the bar exams. Your readiness to become a lawyer is determined by your day-to-day study habits. If you develop an efficient and effective study routine as a law student, you will most likely find it easier to prepare for the bar. Let's bite the bullet here. The 5 or 6 months formal review is simply inadequate to study all the subjects you learned over the past 4 or 5 years. You need to have a good foundation of your law subjects so as not to find yourself crumbling upon the realization that you can't study everything. Okay, so you might say to me, Attorney D, I'm already about to take the bar next year and I still haven't finished my rules of court, civil code, etc. And the COVID-19 situation is also making things worse. So, okay, hold your horses first. That feeling is mutual among bar reviewees, among all law students. Do not panic. You still have time, and I am here to help you out with some tips. So, my first tip for you is to assess yourself first. Know your strengths and weaknesses. I know the ordinary sequence of things is once you graduate law school, you'll take the bar right after. But before you subject yourself to that grueling, demanding, taxing, and exhausting bar review, you need to ask yourself first if you are ready, physically, mentally, financially, psychologically. Assess yourself and determine your strengths and weaknesses. Knowing where you stand will help you a lot in your preparations. Use your strengths to your advantage and address your weaknesses accordingly. It is necessary for a student to find out his or her weaknesses and then create a definite plan to address those weaknesses. You have to correct those weak spots if you want to succeed. So, do you have a bad handwriting? So, syempre, you need to practice writing every day. Do you have a problem with your grammar? So, the solution to that is to read, ask for help, and practice. It has been said that a student with a good grammar has a better way of passing the bar. And as to the subjects, you should also determine which subjects are you good at and in which subjects you still need improvement. So I have received quite a lot of messages asking for tips on how to study tax since their weakest subject is taxation. So, ayan. For non-CPAs, I understand that the subject may appear as an abstract to you. There's this preemption from the students that taxation is mostly math and it's pure math, it's too technical, so parang pang CPA lang siya. So ang key to solving those weakness, especially yung tax nga, that subject, is to appreciate the subject, to relate it to real life experiences. Kasi I believe that we perform well on subjects we can relate to or in subjects where we can see the practical application. So in the case of tax, most students get intimidated. Ayan nga, because like I said, they have this perception that it's math, too technical, and since may preemption ka na mahirap yung subjects, so ang end result is you will have a difficult time navigating your way through the concepts of tax. So the key to have a better understanding of tax is to visualize the topic. Find real-life experience where you can apply what you're studying. Recognize that tax is present in our day-to-day activity. You turn on the TV and you see people winning prizes in a game show. Ask yourself, taxable ba yan? You see companies and philanthropists giving donations and financial assistance to frontliners, hospital, furloughed employees, and poverty-stricken people. Ask yourself again, is it taxable? Are the donations deductible by the companies? To those who are working, get your payslips and understand how your withholding tax is computed. Or simply check your receipts when you buy your grocery items. Alin bang items dito ang vatable? Alin ba ang exempt? Alin ba yung zero-rated? So when you do this, you can see how tax works. You will appreciate the subject more, and hopefully it will give you the drive and motivation to understand your most dreaded subject. Okay. So my next tip is to understand your learning style. Each person has different learning preferences and styles that benefits them. Knowing your learning style helps you develop a more strategic and valuable studying. Ask yourself, when are you most effective when studying? Are you a visual, oral, verbal, or linguistic learner? In my case, I am a combination of visual learner and a verbal learner, and also oral learner. So I need to read first, alone, by myself, the topics, and then I need to hear it. I need to speak it para mas maintindihan ko siya, para mas ma-retain. So in your case, do you need to hear first? Or you are content with just reading? So understand your learning style. So once you determine your learning style, you can implement strategies into your daily study routine to obtain more favorable results. Don't hesitate to eliminate techniques that don't work for you. During this quarantine, you may also discover that you learn a subject better when you're studying alone than studying with a professor. You may realize that some concepts can be grasped better and retained longer in your head when you find some alone time and sit down to study. So my next tip for you is to make a study plan and stick to it. Now, this is very important. Okay. So your study plan or schedule should be detailed, it should be personalized, realistic, and achievable. Do not just plan on the subject you will study for the day. Clearly set out what you will do for every hour and every minute. A good starting point in creating your study schedule is following the bar syllabus. Make sure that you will be able to cover everything. It's also vital that your schedule meets your needs. Devote more time and attention to your weakest subjects and consider the percentage of each subject as well. Make your study schedule flexible to cover contingencies. Of course, hindi yan maiwasan. Minsan, may mga araw na magbe-breakdown ka na lang, hindi mo talaga naiintindihan yung binabasa mo. So, make sure na flexible yung study schedule mo. So, I have here, I would like to share with you my study schedule for the bar for review. So, this was my schedule from June to August. So, as you can see, I wake up at 5 a.m. Then, the first thing I do in the morning is, of course, pray. Then, ayan, my time for exercise. And I take a bath already before studying para energized, refreshed. And then, of course, eat a hearty breakfast. It's very important to have a good breakfast. So, if you sum up the total hours I devoted for my study, that is 10.5 hours for June to August. I was told that the minimum number of hours for a student to pass the bar exams is at least 8 hours of study per day. So, okay. So, I said to myself, okay, to pass the bar, you need 8 hours. And silently, I was really hoping to top the bar. So, okay, if I wish to top the bar, I should add more. So for June to August, I devoted 10.5 hours for studying. So meron na 30 minutes na konting allowance in case medyo mababagal ang pacing ko sa isang topic or may kailangan gawin, yung mga ganon. So, ayun, i-align nyo yung schedule nyo sa needs nyo and sa tingin nyo ilang hours nyo ba kaya mag-study. Ayan. So, may time ako to talk to loved ones, although we will discuss that later, to pray, meditate, and then to sleep. So, come the bar months, September to December, since the bar exam is near, so my schedule looks like this. So, I woke up at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. kasi during the bar exam itself, you really need to wake up very early. Although, pwedeng sabihin mo, I will stay in a place close to UST. But it's safer. You don't want to take the risk na gumising ng late kasi hindi mo rin alam kung anong pwedeng mangyari. So, it's safer na you wake up very early and para meron ka ring allowance in case may kailangan kang gawin before you go to examination room or kung gusto mo pang mag-aral. Ayan. So, for September to November, I devoted 12 and a half hours for studying. So, mostly na-achieve ko 12 hours. Ganon, kasi grabe na yung pressure by that time. So, since yun nga, I secretly want to top the bar. So, dinagdagan ko talaga yung minimum na hours na parang nire-require sa mga bar reviewees. So, ayan. You can use this as a guide when you make your study schedule. And I also have here my calendar for the bar exam. Okay, so we'll just have a rundown. So this is my schedule in June. So every day, makikita niyo, mapapansin niyo, every day meron akong task for the day. So para hindi ako mabablanko kung anong gagawin ko, I will not be confused. So that's another tip na dapat gagawa na kayo ng schedule. So I made this bar exam schedule at the start of the review. So I planned out what I will do from June to November. So we can just have a rundown of what I did in July. So every day, meron siyang specific task or study goal. That is until November. Okay, just wait a minute. All right. So can you go back to the last slide, please? Okay. So once you finalize your study schedule, make sure that you will follow it religiously and vigorously as if your life depends on it. Okay? Remember, this quarantine is not a vacation. Use your available time wisely. The bar exams is just around the corner. So, okay, my next tip for you is to find a place conducive for studying and remove all distractions. So, ayan. Ideally, you should study in a well-lighted area, as silent as a graveyard. In our situation now, the students have no choice but to study at the comfort of your own homes. However, I understand it's challenging for some to study at home since your attention can easily be diverted to something else. Normally, and I am guilty of this, our safe spaces for study are libraries or coffee shops because it allows us to separate work from play. So to recreate the feeling of a separate study area, to have a sense of normalcy, you can work in a different room or a different area aside from your bedroom, aside from your bed, to allow you to cultivate a study mindset. So communicate to your family members of your studying time, so they will also allow you to have a quiet time to focus and hopefully ensure that you will not be disturbed. And this is very important. Remove anything that can distract you, such as your gadgets. Put your gadgets on silent mode and hide it in a place not visible to you when you are studying. So I suggest do not use your gadget first when you are about to study, kasi the news are very distracting and the gadget itself is very distracting. I remember when I was reviewing for the bar, I placed my phone under my pillow or minsan tinatago ko siya sa cabinet kasi I'm really distracted of the mere presence of my phone. Meron talagang temptation to hold it and just scroll your social media. So I suggest you limit yourself from social media for the meantime. It takes discipline, but slowly you can develop it. I know you have experienced being so engrossed in what you are studying, but suddenly there's that ping sound from your phone, and before you know it, wala na. You already spent 30 minutes to 1 hour scrolling your phone. So, I also suggest not to study in front of a mirror kasi medyo distracting rin siya. So, better yet, study while facing your vision wall like what I did. So, my next tip for you is this. Master your caudal provisions, okay? So, make this your mantra from now on. Caudal is the key to success. It really is. So, ayan. Reading annotated books and jurisprudence without reading your caudal provisions first is just cutting corners. Repetitive and constant reading of your caudals gives you a good foundation that will come in handy when you take the bar exams. Once you know your caudal provisions like the back of your hand, and then you supplement it with doctrines laid down in jurisprudence, you're good to go. Ayan. So hashtag caudal is the key to success. Ayan. So my next tip for you is invest in good and quality reviewers or materials that meet your needs. So finding good reviewers or materials is like finding needle in a haystack because of the numerous options available. So ayan, luckily you have Rex Bookstore that has a wide range of reviewers that you can choose from. So you may start by asking successful bar examinees what materials or reviewers they use, but do not be pressured in buying all of those. So for those who want to know what materials I used, I shared it on my Twitter page. So if you want to know what materials I use, and you may also ask successful bar examinees what materials they use, but do not be pressured again into buying all of those. And you may list down all their suggested materials, scan through them, and check whether all the topics in the bar syllabus are included. Those materials have different presentation styles. Find the material which corresponds most to your learning needs. Consider your strengths, weaknesses, and preferences as well in choosing your reviewer. So a lot of people are asking me, ilan ba dapat ang reviewer ko, Atty. D, sa isang subject? Dalawa ba? Tatlo? Isa lang? So actually, there is no hard and fast rule as to how many reviewers you should have in each subject. It depends on you. If you believe that one reviewer already meets your needs, then that's fine. Or if you think you need to supplement it with other materials, then do it. But do not, never hoard materials if you know for yourself that you cannot read them. You are just giving yourself unnecessary anxiety by piling up materials you will not even touch. Okay. So my next tip for you is, have a comprehensive and holistic approach in studying. Studying law should be in a wide perspective. Be comprehensive and holistic in your study because all the subjects are intimately interconnected. When you study a specific subject, related to other subjects, so you'll have a broader understanding of how the law works. Do not confine yourself to the topic you're studying. Be curious and explore other areas where you can relate it. For example, when you study BP 22, don't just settle in the substantive provisions of BP 22. Understand its procedural aspects as well, related to Rule 111. So you will discover na hindi pala pwede mag-reserve ng independent action for BP 22. And then related to your rules on summary procedure, kasi BP 22 is under rules on summary procedure. And then related to your credit transactions, because most probably the issuance of check involves loan. And of course, your negotiable instrument law because it involves check. So parang ganon yung sinasabi ko when I say that you have a comprehensive and holistic approach in studying. I learned this approach from a professor of mine, Judge Lanuso. So our subject with him is obliged to attend your classes religiously. Yeah. During the review, I have observed that in the first months of review, the review classes are jam-packed. You'll need to go early to the review school to reserve seats. However, as the bar exam approaches, the bar examinees attending the review classes are diminishing. Some don't attend classes anymore because they rather isolate themselves and finish their reading schedule. Well, this may work for some, but I'd rather advise you to attend your classes religiously. The reviewers and professors are experts in their respective fields. I am sure that you will be able to pick up a thing or two that will come in handy for the bar exam and eventually in your actual practice. Besides, you paid for it. Why not get your money's worth by attending classes? And of course, during this time, classes means online lectures. I know it's more difficult to remain focused when you're just staring at a screen for hours. I can partly relate because when I was reviewing, I opt to attend some classes online. It's tempting to just pause the video and just self-study because boredom can easily creep in. A tip I can give you is to multitask while you listen to online lectures. Of course, on the assumption that your professor will allow you to turn off your camera while he or she is discussing. So while you listen to online lectures, so you won't fall asleep or be bored, you can multitask. Pwede ka mag-doodle. You can fold laundry, cut your nails. As long as the activity doesn't require much attention and brain power, you'll be fine. So my next tip for you, and a very important one, is to read previous bar questions and their suggested answers. So I started reading previous bar questions and suggested answers when I was a freshman. So first year pa lang nagbabasa na ako ng bar questions. So through this practice, I found out that some topics are highly tested and are favorites in the bar exams. So during your review, it is smart to pay attention to topics that are more likely to be asked. Spending hours and hours trying to memorize every detail of a topic that is unlikely to be tested is not the best use of your time. Understanding testing frequency is a great way to make sure you are studying effectively for the bar exam. So next tip is, another important tip, is to practice answering bar questions in a direct, logical, concise manner. So ayan. If your goal in the bar exams is to top the bar, you need to stand out. So the way to do that is to articulate your answer well through logical reasoning. You need to convey to the examiners that you have substantive knowledge of the law and procedure, and you can apply it to the given facts. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of the examiners who must check thousands of booklets. So you should look out for their welfare by being direct in your answers and eradicate lengthy explanations. It is also important to have a good command of the English language. Your handwriting must also be readable. Through constant practice, you'll be able to train yourself on how to properly attack bar questions. So I have received a lot of questions at hindi paano ko ba sumagot sa bar exam. So actually, iba-ibang styles yan. So of course, I adopted the jurist method because I reviewed in juries. So I think ang important lang dyan, regardless kung 3 paragraph, 4 paragraph, or kung ilang mga paragraph ang gusto nyo gamitin, what's important is you should include in your answer your legal basis and then apply it to the facts. Ganon lang yun. And make it easy for the bar examiner. Huwag na yung sobrang haba na explanation. Tapos paikot-ikot ka lang, but in the end, hindi alam ng bar examiner ano bang gusto nitong sabihin sa akin. So, by reading also previous bar questions and suggested answers, makakasanayan mo rin how to spot the issue. Kasi minsan may mga ano lang siya, pampagulo lang na facts. So, by reading previous bar questions, you will be able to train yourself how to spot the important facts and how to disregard the non-important facts. So ayun, just practice how you answer your bar questions, and you may adopt any method you want, but yun nga, as long as marerelay mo sa answer mo ano yung sagot mo, ano yung legal basis mo, paano mo in-apply siya sa facts, and yun, okay na yun. And my next tip for you is to memorize smart. Personally, I'm not fond of memorizing. I believe it's more important to understand and grasp the wording of the law. Kaya lang, However, memorization is inevitable for the bar exams. But unless you have highly superior autobiographical memory, or you can memorize everything, you must also be smart on the topics you will memorize verbatim. In memorizing, I practice this. You can use well-known methods and techniques such as mnemonics that are easy to recall. Okay, to give you an example, for example, for modes of acquiring ownership, I have old tips and occupation, law, donation, tradition, intellectual creation, prescription, and succession. Yun yan. For another example. For bills that should originate in the lower house under Section 24, Article 6 of your Constitution, I have Pilar, or sometimes April. Pareho lang yung letters of Pilar. Private bills, bills increasing public debts, bills of local application, appropriation, revenue, and tariff. Yan, medyo, di ba, catchy yung mnemonics. Ano pa ba? Ayan, grounds for impeachment. My mnemonics is GOT-BBC. So, I always think na yung Game of Thrones pinalabas sa BBC. So, ayan, graft and corruption, other high crimes, treason, bribery, betrayal of public trust, culpable violation of the Constitution. So, I can go about the mnemonics I used, but it depends on you. You create a mnemonic for yourself para mas mabilis nyo maintindihan. Be creative in your mnemonics. Kasi kayo rin yung mahihirapan pag sobrang naman ng mnemonics na ginamit nyo. So, ayan. Those are just a few samples. You can use also other memory techniques that may work for you. You can do some research. And for definitions and provisions that are important, such as Bill of Rights, I just repeatedly recite it like a prayer until I memorize it. For enumerations, I use important keywords to help me remember. And then for jurisprudence, I memorize some of important jurisprudence so that I can use it as a citation in your answers. But as a warning also, use only the name or the title of the case when you are definitely sure of the case title. Kasi baka mamaya mali naman pa yung nilagay mo, di mas talong ma-disappoint sa yung examiner. So, ayan. So, my next tip for you is make notes. Ayan, very important. So, jotting down notes while you're reading is a great study skill. Even if you end up making notes only you can understand, like my case, or just copying what is in the book, taking down notes will still be beneficial because you are still able to separate the important points and navigating through that topic will be easier for you. So, my next tip for you is read the news every day. Although very stressful, but it is important that you keep yourself in the loop. Not on updates on the lives of your favorite celebrities, but on current news and events. Reading the news every day enables you to stay updated. Current events can also be potential sources of bar questions. You may also chance upon legal questions where you can develop your own opinion and apply what you have studied. So my next tip for you is to self-evaluate. Although your professors still give out online exams to monitor your performance, the best way to ensure that you understood what you read is to periodically self-evaluate. This way, you get a better understanding of how well you understood the subject and where you need to work more. Personally, I do this by writing questions as I read through a topic, and then I will answer it afterwards without looking at my notes or books. So by making questions for myself, I am also able to predict probable bar questions based on the important provisions of the law and landmark cases, with due consideration, of course, of the highly tested topics based on the survey of previous bar questions. But as a warning, do not try to predict probable questions based on the rumored examiners. By focusing on their profile rather than understanding the law is dangerous. Okay. So my next tip for you is, and a very important one, is to be disciplined. Okay? It's true. You won't always be motivated. So you should learn how to be disciplined. I know this quarantine reduces motivation to get things done. Getting out of bed is an achievement itself. Being at the comforts of your own home, it's easy to get bored, indolent, and unenthusiastic. It takes a lot of discipline to choose studying over watching Netflix or scrolling your social media. I know it's hard to stay focused and enthusiastic, but there's no other way to pass the bar. You need to study. No more excuses. Because of the internet, all the quality materials and tools are already within your reach. With the right amount of determination and discipline, you can effectively remove all distractions and concentrate on studying for long hours. What you do now shapes your future. Set yourself apart. Give it your all. If you want to become a lawyer, the task is now. So, okay, before we move on to the next segment, let us ask our panelists from ALST for some questions.
Hi, Attorney D.
Hi.
Hi, Attorney D. I am William Christian de la Cruz from Father Saturnino Urdios University in Butuan City. I am the Secretary General of the Association of Law Students of the Philippines Incorporated. I'm incredibly honored to speak with you today. In the law school where I come from, Attorney D, a majority of the students are working full-time. My question is, how did you manage to ace your fourth-year review subjects while having to work full-time in the government? What is your secret?
Okay. So before I become fourth year, I stopped working for 4 months, actually. Because I needed to catch up with my backlogs also. So, but it's still on my fourth year, I'm working. I'm a full-time working student. So the key there to be able to juggle your work and your studies is to maximize every available time you have for studying. Are you working? You're working, right? So
yes,
every time you have your lunch break or meron kayong coffee break, you study. And kung halimbawa natapos mo ng maaga yung pinapagawa sa'yo, then utilize the time to study. And of course, it involves a lot of sacrifice. You will sacrifice time for your family, time for love life, time for leisure. So it's also discipline na to choose to study on your available time instead of going out with your friends. So with the knowledge that you have limited time, you should also make sure that you are maximizing every time you have. So yun rin yung edge actually ng working students kasi every time they have, wala silang karapatan mag-slack. You don't have the energy anymore to slack because you only have this time to study. So ayun. I hope
one follow-up, Attorney. One follow-up. What is your advice for full-time employees during the bar review period?
Okay. That was my initial plan. I planned on working while at the same time reviewing for the bar. But when the 2018 bar exam results came out, I felt the pressure. So I think I cannot risk working full-time, but at the same time reviewing. But it has been done. I know some lawyers already that were able to successfully ace their bar exams while at the same time working. Siguro ask for consideration from your employers because of course you need to give it your all this time, and ask if you can arrange more flexible hours so you will have more time to study. So it will be hard, definitely, I'm sure of that, but it can be managed by managing your time well and prayers, of course.
Thank you so much, Attorney D.
Thank you.
Hi, Attorney D.
Hi.
Thank you for sharing to us your calendar. Actually, it was so helpful. And right now, actually, I'm thinking of making and revising my calendar as well in preparation for the bar. And my question is, during your law school and bar preparation journey, who were part of your support group?
My support group, of course, involves my family. My number one cheerers are my parents and brother. And of course, you also need to have a close circle of friends who wants the best for you, of course. It's important na meron kang stress reliever, that you will have someone to talk to of what you're feeling and what you're discussing. So, ayun, you sabi nga sa movie, di ba, you don't need a lot of friends. You only need a few good people. So that is also true when it comes to your support group in the bar exams.
Just a follow-up po, Attorney D. So how how were they able to greatly influence you or inspire you in your journey in topping the 2019 bar examinations?
Actually, the idea of becoming a Topntocher came from these people. When I entered law school, I did not believe for myself that I will top the bar. But my professors, who became mentors of mine, said that, oh, I think you have a potential. And my friends as well, who are non-lawyers, non-CPAs, but they can see how I pursue my law school. So sabi nila, I think you can top the bar. Actually, before the release of the results, a group of friends of mine called me through Zoom also, and then they have this signage that I will top the bar. So they already believed in me. So it really helps that people are encouraging you, people believes in you, because you also manifest that in yourself. Of course, you have to believe in yourself, but it also helps if people are expressing that you can do it. So I hope you find your best support group to help you ace that bar exam.
Thank you for that, Attorney D.
Thank you.
Hello po, Attorney D. Good afternoon,
Hello.
and good afternoon din po sa lahat ng viewers. I am John Michael Suelo po, the National President of the Association of Law Students of the Philippines. So yung question ko po, Attorney D, is very basic lang po. Like, I'm sure everybody is curious din po. To you personally, like you said earlier, we should practice our handwriting every day. To you personally, did you write your answers in print or in cursive? Or do you have any recommendation on how we write our answers?
I believe actually it doesn't matter if print or cursive. Ang mas importante dyan is the examiner will be able to read your answers. So for me, I wrote my answers in print kasi pangit yung cursive ko. I actually asked suggestions and comments from my friends. I compared my handwriting in print and then in cursive. I asked them, for non-lawyers non-law students, which handwriting is most readable. So yun. So sabi nila print. So I went with print. So don't stress yourself kung print or cursive, but ang importante lang dyan is nababasa ba? Will the examiner be able to read this? So, and for those who have bad handwriting, I suggest to write your answers in big letters para mas mabasa ng examiners kasi may mga examiners rin na medyo malabo na yung mata. So look out for their welfare by writing your answers bigger.
Attorney D, just a follow-up question na lang din po. Kasi earlier you said, like we can use any formula on how we write or construct our answers in the examination, like according to our own style and to our preference. Pero like for you personally, Attorney D, when you were reviewing for the bar, did the review center or the materials that you use recommended any formula on how you write your answers?
Definitely, of course, I listened to the mentors, the coaches and juries, because my way of answering in law school is very different from answering in the bar exam. So I had some adjustments there. But of course, I enrolled in juries, and it will be useless if I don't listen to the coaches. But based on what I have observed, parang actually it's just a matter of style. Isa lang talaga ang way of proper answering of the bar is to articulate well your answer, include the legal basis, include the facts, and then yung conclusion. So, of course, I prefer the four-paragraph method of juries because personally, I believe na more systematic, mas malinis tingnan. So, if you believe as well na kaya nyo yun, mas okay yun sa inyo, although some are hesitant, but I will suggest to adapt that kind of style kung mas madali for you and kaya nyo naman siyang i-adapt for yourself.
Thank you so much, Attorney D. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, Attorney D.
Hello.
Hello. I am Kian Hamer from the University of Nueva Cáceres in Naga City. So, I know that you were already discussing things that, in general, law students should prepare in in making sure that they would have a successful experience in the bar exam. But what do you think are the things that students or law students from provincial law school should exclusively prepare for? Or are there things that those coming from provincial law schools should do aside from those that you already mentioned?
Okay, for law students that are studying in the province who plan to review in Manila, of course, prepare to adjust to the life in Manila. Meron siguro mga law students na first time mahiwalay sa family, first time to live alone. So you should prepare psychologically for that, to live alone, to prepare your own food, to to do everything for your welfare. And secondly, although this is personal, prepare also to be intimidated by law students from other schools, especially those top law schools, kasi syempre, of course, they establish their name, and siguro mafe-feel mo, you will feel insecure, or you will feel na hindi ka pa ready. But yun I will discuss it later, that do not compare yourself with others. So, and we should stop that perception that one law school is always better than the other, and because you are a graduate of law school, you're already better than me. So I think I already proved that even coming from provincial law school, you are able to ace. You can actually ace the bar.
Thank you so much, Atty. D.
Hi, Atty. D.
Hi.
Hello po. I'm Sharmila Siplon from Silliman University, Negros Oriental po. Currently the Vice Governor of ALSP Visayas. My question was quite answered previously, so I would like to focus my question now on review centers who would adapt or improve their review approach, especially this time during this COVID-19 circumstance. Do you think an online review class is quite a better alternative to provide, or a better approach to help the bar takers?
Well, definitely considering the situation now, of course, the online review is always a viable option. It's always a smart choice, come to think of it. Syempre, hindi mo maiwasan that you will feel hesitant to go to Manila because of the situation right now. We don't know when this pandemic will end. And of course, also Supreme Court starts to regionalize the bar exams. So law students don't have to go to Manila altogether. Pwede na rin sa Cebu, like you. And so studying in your home or in your province will actually be beneficial for you kasi yung culture tsaka yung environment, hindi mo na kailangan mag-adjust. So, ayun. To ease your thinking na baka meron pang COVID or ganun, or hindi ka sanay to be far away from your family, online review is always an option.
Okay po, that would be all. Thank you po.
Thank you. Okay, so let's proceed. Our next segment is how to remain safe and healthy while preparing for the bar. So your physical and mental health is just as important as preparing for the bar. You need to make sure that you take care of yourself. It is vital that you remain in your best shape because the bar is not only a test of your legal knowledge but also of your physical and mental strength. So ayaw naman natin na yung pagkakasakit natin, yun pa yung magiging sagabal sa pagpasa natin sa bar exam. So my first tip for you on how to remain safe and healthy is to, of course, take intermittent breaks. So the least that you want to happen is to be burnt out. So as you have seen in my schedule, I considered to have 15 to 20-minute breaks every 2 hours to allow my mind to process everything you read and to replenish your energy as well. So you can have a power nap, take a walk, do some jumping jacks, exercise, or eat your favorite snack during breaks. So use a timer to remind you when your study breaks are over. So my next tip is Yan. To discuss with your classmates and friends, find support and solace in each other. So a highly effective way of understanding your lessons is by discussing it with your classmates and friends. For those who understands the topic well, teach it to others. By doing this, you are not only helping your friends, but you are also helping yourself develop mastery of the subject. You may create group chats or have Zoom meetings of your own to have a virtual study group. Discuss and ask each other questions, socialize, check on your friends from time to time. So ask how they're doing, how they're coping up. Be each other's support and solace. These are perilous times for us. So knowing that you have people you can count on can somehow ease your anxieties and frustrations. So my next tip for you is to talk to your family and friends. So again, as you saw in my schedule, I allotted time to talk to my family and friends. Every night before going to sleep, I talk to my family and friends to share my thoughts, release my stress, ask for encouragement. So surround yourself with people who believes in you and what you can accomplish. Especially during these times, it is absolutely necessary to have a good support system. However, you should also ask your family and friends to respect your study time because of the demands of the review. Make them understand that you'll connect with them in your own time. And my next tip is get adequate sleep. Okay. You need at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep for your brain to work properly. So I suggest you wake up early and go to bed early because as the saying goes, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. So ayan. Waking up early serves dual purpose. You are taking advantage of the time when your mind is better able to focus, and you are also training yourself to wake up early for the bar exam. So I think you will need quite an adjustment here because personally, I had a hard time waking up early since I was used to my routine in law school. Since I was a working student, I used to sleep very late, and sometimes I oversleep. Because I was studying at the wee hours of the night. So that's quite an adjustment. So you can train yourself as early as now to wake up early and to get adequate sleep, and it will help your brain also to retain what you have studied. So ayan. My next tip is to eat healthy foods. Yeah. As a law student, you need to feed your body with foods healthy for your body. As the control center of your body, you also need to keep your brain in peak working condition. One way to do this is to eat foods good for your brain, such as fatty fish, vegetables, nuts, dark chocolate, berries, eggs, green tea, and of course, coffee. A good coffee in the morning helps boost your energy and memory. So another tip also, when you start your formal review, make sure that you always have stock of groceries for your food because the review and the studying consumes too much of your energy. So most of the time, lagi kang gutom. I'm guilty of that. And I think other bar examinees can attest to that as well. You will really stress it. So ayaw mo na ring ma-bother pa na wala kang pagkain. So don't be guilty. Eat to your heart's content kasi you are consuming energy para ma-retain lahat ng inaaral mo. So, but of course, make sure that you also eat healthy. Yeah. So my next tip for you is to exercise. Okay. Make it a part of your routine to exercise even for 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, it helps the blood running to your brain and para maging active ka na rin. So, it helps for better blood circulation and it helps you awake and active. When you exercise, your body releases endorphins. These chemicals trigger a positive feeling in your body, which is helpful for your mental health. So, I know, medyo mahirap ngayon na isingit ang exercise sa inyong routine, but make sure na kahit papano you move para naman magising-gising yan na katawan, and it really helps to have focus and mental clarity. Yeah. So my next tip with you, and a very important one, is to do not, never, never, never compare your progress with others. This is the dilemma that most students have, comparing and measuring their progress with others. Okay, listen. Being concerned with the progress of others and comparing it to yourself will only bring you unnecessary stress. If not dealt with properly, you may be self-destructive and may end up wallowing in depression and anxiety. Okay? Every bar reviewee is different and has their own strengths and weaknesses. It's unfair and irrational to measure your ability to pass the bar based on someone who isn't a lawyer yet himself. You are sui generis. You are one of a kind. So stop comparing yourself to others. The bar exam, it's everyone's game. It's the great equalizer. In the eyes of the examiners, you are just a code. It doesn't matter if you graduated top of your class or you didn't. Once you ace that exam, nothing else really matters. Okay, my next tip for you is, of course, be positive. Yeah. You can see a picture here of a piece of paper I wrote on October 2, 2019, and I put it inside my St. Jude novena. So, as you think, so shall you be. Okay? The law of attraction simply says that you attract into your life whatever you put your mind into. Whatever you give your energy and attention to, it will come back to you. The universe does not understand the word don't. So when you put your thoughts in a negative context, such as, I hope I don't fail the exam, the universe disregards the word don't and gives you the opposite of what you are wishing for, since it was put negatively. Feed your mind with success. If you focus on positive thoughts and have goals that you aim to achieve, you will find a way to achieve them with massive action. When you send out positive energy, your actions will be aligned to what you want to achieve. Let go of your negative thoughts. I know it can be very difficult, but if you spend enough time and energy focusing on what you fear of, negative things may actually manifest in your life. Do not listen to the negative thoughts forced upon you by people. No one can ever limit what you can accomplish. Believe in yourself and prove them wrong. So again, be positive. Claim that you have received what you have prayed for. Live and think as if you achieved your goals. To those who follow me on Twitter, you may notice that my display name is Atty. D. So I changed that at the start of the year 2019. I believed and claimed that I am already a lawyer. I also claimed to be a Topntocher at the start of the formal review. So I started writing it in my planner, books, and in many pieces of paper, such as what you can see on screen, declaring that I will top the bar. Most of it, I said I will place top A, but God has different plans. He gave me more than what I prayed for. And also, some of you may have come across upon my post where I shared my vision wall. I just said, I will top the bar. I incessantly prayed to the Lord. Sometimes it just came automatically after I make the sign of the cross. Maybe the positive thoughts I sent out to the universe was so strong that God gave me the first place instead of my prayer of placing top 8. Okay, so my next tip for you is to meditate. Okay. I learned this tip from no other than Attorney Florin Helbay, former Solicitor General and also a bar Topntocher. When he went to our school for a leadership seminar, students were given a chance to ask him about leadership, current political and socio-economic issues. I know it's off topic, but I grabbed that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to ask him for tips on how he prepared for the bar. So he said two things. First, he advised us to read previous bar questions and suggested answers, like what I told you. And second, to meditate. It was a blur to me at first how meditation can help me succeed in the bar exam. With research, I found out that meditation is definitely good for your brain. It leads to better focus, greater mental clarity, lower levels of stress, and reduced anxiety. Especially this time when depression, anxiety, and high levels of stress are emerging crises, practicing meditation and mindfulness can bring significant benefits to your mental health. There are different ways of meditation. It can be as simple as observing your breathing or having a quiet time for yourself to contemplate. The goal is to pay close attention to the moment, to recognize the situation, especially our own thoughts, emotions, and sensations, whatever it is that's happening. Meditation is a way for us to just take a moment and pause. It's an effective way of dealing with the enormous stress that bar examiners experience. So my next tip for you, and the very important tip I will share, is to pray. So this is a picture of my cousin who prayed for me to pass the bar. He just saw a cross and then he started praying. So reviewing for the bar makes you feel a lot of emotions. It will be so overwhelming that sometimes it will just bring you to tears. For 6 months, you will feel secluded from the rest of the world. You will feel that you are putting everything on hold. Nothing else will matter but to pass the bar exams. However, you need to understand that you cannot do this alone. Above anything else, you need to connect with God. You need to tell Him your dreams. Surrender everything to His holy will. Admit your fears and doubts and let Him control your life. Pray as soon as you wake up in the morning and at night before going to sleep. Pray for wisdom and guidance. Pray when you feel confused about a topic. Pray every time you worry. Pray when you feel alone. Talk to God and just let your emotions out. Let this time strengthen your relationship with God and your faith in Him. Tell Him what you want, clearly and specifically. My prayer was always like this: Lord, help me pass the 2019 Philippine Bar exams. And if it is according to your will, please also make me a Topntocher. Kahit 8th place lang, Lord. This blessing I am asking is not only for myself, but mostly for the people who believes that I can, and for the people that I will help when I become a lawyer. I promise you, Lord, that I will be a good lawyer. I will use this title to proclaim your goodness and your greater glory. I surrender everything to your holy will. So that was my prayer. He knows our struggles more than anyone else. He sees your intentions, how much you want this. You just need to trust Him. Have faith in His plans for you. Do not worry. Just do your part and let His will unfold in your life. God is with you all the way. He's with you right now, even when you feel uncertain about yourself. He is your strength and refuge. Let His promises be your assurance that everything will be all right. Have faith and pray. Pray as if everything depends on prayer. So my next tip for you is unwind and reward yourself from time to time. Okay, so of course, you need to take care of yourself also. So in motor racing, race cars stop in the pits for fuel and other consumables to be renewed or replenished. The same goes for you. Don't forget to unwind to replenish your energy and strength. Celebrate little victories. Reward yourself when you finish your study schedule, or when you finish a grueling exam, or when you finally understand a topic that's been bugging you for days. I remember when I was reviewing, every after mock bar, I reward myself with a good massage. Then I eat out with friends. Okay. Don't forget to tap yourselves in the back. You are doing great. These are trying times. The fact that you are trying to remain on track is a feat in itself. Keep moving forward. You are almost there. So I now have time for questions from our panelists from ALSD.
Good afternoon, Attorney Lee.
Good afternoon.
Tagalog from the University of the Cordilleras, current governor for North Luzon. I would just like to ask you, during your preparation for the bar exam, how did you deal with the added pressure coming from your school, your family, and your peers?
I think pressure have been a part of my life since I took up accountancy, because the environment is very competitive. So I have learned to manage pressure by not fighting it, by embracing it, just the good amount of pressure, embracing the good amount of pressure. Because I think the presence of pressure is a good thing. When you are being pressured, it means that you are onto something important and people believes in you. People believe that you can accomplish what they think you can. So when you deal with pressure, embrace the good amount of pressure and use it as motivation to become a better version of yourself.
Thank you so much, Atty.
Thank you.
Hello, Attorney D. Yung question ko po, like nasabi niyo po earlier na we should unwind and reward ourselves. Like, to you personally, Attorney, like, what keeps you sane during your, you were preparing for the bar examination? Did you go out with your friends? Do you still party or night out? Or, like, do you have specific activities that you did to keep you sane?
In my schedule, you may notice that every Monday, the half day of Monday, I don't study. That's my rest time. And every after mock bar, I go out with friends. Ayun. Not necessarily clubbing and going out. Sometimes we just have dinner. Sometimes we drink. That's a way also to reconnect with the outside world. Because when you review, you will feel like a hermit. So you don't want to lose yourself, lose your mind. So keep in touch with people from time to time. So ngayon, since hindi pa suggested na lumabas and mag party, so I think what you can do is to watch Netflix, reward yourself with your favorite TV show, so something like that.
Attorney, just a follow-up. Actually, I was supposed to ask then what were your psychological preparations, but you already said that it's about law of attraction, meditation, mindfulness, and prayer. But for those who may not be used in doing it, how did you start building these habits?
I think being prayerful is also second nature to me. So I really grew up in a prayerful family. So as to the meditation, I started practicing it during the review itself. I researched how to do it. So okay, I understand that it will be as easy as like observing your breathing. Just inhale, exhale, and just be conscious of your surroundings. So you really need to find a quiet time for yourself to acknowledge that you feel afraid, you feel anxious. Kasi if you keep on fighting it, you will just be more and more stressed. So that's why meditation is also important. Because when you acknowledge that you are feeling this, okay, I am afraid that I will fail. I am afraid that I will not finish my study schedule. When you recognize it, the power it has in you lessens. So I think that's important also for people who are not used to it. Embrace it. Just be open to what it can do to your life.
Thank you so much, Attorney D.
Thank you.
Hi, Attorney D.
Hi.
From the University of Makati School of Law and currently the Director of Social Cultural Affairs of the ALSP. Thank you very much, Attorney, for the helpful tips and the inspiring insights. And nakaka-relate talaga ako, especially dun sa praying part. Ngayon. So, I was a volunteer in the Coco Bar review. So, they posted about your love life. So, my question is on the lighter note po, no?
Okay.
Regarding it. So, what support system do we need when braving the bar? And how did you balance your love life and ACADS? And how did it help you in your journey of becoming the top one?
To be honest, when I was studying law school, I didn't enter into a relationship. But sometimes I date. Pero I realized that I really don't have time for boys yet. And the same goes for review. It was actually serendipity to say it. I didn't expect to find someone during the review itself kasi most importantly, during the week before the exams, you don't want any distractions. But, God has plans. So I happened to meet my boyfriend at Coco Bar. So it was by chance. He was a total stranger. So good support system na rin siguro because I have something to look forward after the bar exams. Sabi ko, okay, there will be someone after the bar exams because I said to myself, after the bar exams, I will open up myself to finally finding someone. So, God has perfect timing. So binigay niya naman nung patapos na. I met him third week of November. Third week of November sa Coco Bar. So ayun. For law students who can juggle law school and their love life, there's nothing wrong with it. As long as your partner is very understanding, he or she understands what you're going through. Hindi na siya makakadagdag sa stress mo, sa pressure mo, but instead, he or she will support you all the way. Then there's no problem with that. That's actually very important. And you're very lucky, actually, to find someone like that. During my time, I wasn't lucky enough to find someone like that. So maybe, kasi sabi ni Lord, baka ma-distract lang ako. So he has a perfect timing. Kaya binigay niya, malapit na matapos yung bar. Ayan.
Noted po yan. Perfect timing. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Attorney B.
Hello, Attorney B. This is
Hello.
Kian again from the University of Azores. I'm the director for student rights and welfare of ALSP. There is this presumption that review centers in Manila are better than those in the province, which is why law students from the provinces would be very much willing to adjust in a new environment, which could stress them all the more, which could probably make them homesick, distract them altogether. Do you think review centers in the provinces are equally effective alternatives, or it's really worth taking the risk of going to Manila, aside from the existence of COVID, of course? But in a normal situation, do you think that there's truth in this presumption, or those in the provinces are equally competent, so people do not need to flock anymore in Manila?
Of course, I can't deny that I disregarded the results that is shown by my review center, and I also wanted that for myself. But of course, I think, of course, there are equally competent review centers in the province. As for me, the choice to go to Manila to review was because I cannot study at home. There are a lot of distractions. There are kids in our house. So sabi ko, maybe it's not smart if I remain at home to study, although there are options to review online and meron ring mga review centers dito. So it depends on you also to assess. You assess yourself. Are you a better learner if you study by yourself, or you really need to go to a review center to attend their classes? And going to Manila also has another advantage because you will get used to the environment. You'll use the environment, and then you will be more independent as well. But if you think that will be an added distraction to you, then just stay in your province. But if you want to experience already the pressure and to have a taste of what it feels like to be with a lot of bar reviewees who are eager to have that attorney title, then you can go to Manila.
Okay, thank you, Attorney D. For the longest time, kasi people are thinking that those in the provinces are not good enough, which is why there are certain people in the government who think that only certain people from certain law schools are good. It's good to hear that reason why you chose to review in Manila, and it was something else, probably a personal one, and something that you would want to yourself. You would want for yourself. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Hi, Attorney D. I'm back. William from FSU Butuan City. Hi. Earlier, Attorney D, you talked about the importance of adequate sleep for the bar review. But we know for a fact that in law school, sleepless and restless nights are inevitable.
Yes.
I want to talk about your sleep habit rather in law school, since you work in the government. What is your sleep habit?
Usually, since our classes range from 5:30 to 8:30, and I usually go at home around 9 p.m. So I take dinner for 30 minutes. So I can start studying around 9:30. So my minimum study hours is 2 to 3 hours. So I usually sleep at 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. sometimes. Then, of course, I need to wake up for work. So I wake up 6 or 6:30. So you can just count. Minsan talaga binibilang ko rin how many hours I have left for sleeping. So mostly I have 5 to 6 hours. Sometimes if I'm lucky, I have 7 hours. So
I
that's
see.
I was really sleep deprived. Maybe you can attest to that also. I was really sleep deprived in law school. That's why it's also an adjustment when I reviewed, because I have a lot of time now. I don't have to worry about work. I only have to worry about reviewing. But I made sure that I get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep during my review. But it's actually difficult also because your mind is active whole day. So it's hard to just, get sleepy. So as much as possible, get adequate sleep. Although very parang medyo mahirap talaga for working law students. But when you find time, reward yourself. Maybe that will be your reward to get adequate sleep. So although you are sleep deprived now, you feel burdened now. After all of this, you can enjoy lots of sleep.
Attorney, earlier you talked about the importance of talking to friends before you sleep during the bar review. You told us that it's what's keeping your insanity intact. But for some people in the bar review, some people tend to separate themselves from reality. My question is, did you deactivate your social media account? How did you tell people you were reviewing for the bar exam? Since earlier you said that it's also important to listen to news, to read the news, and now the news is on Facebook. So how did you tell people you were reviewing for the bar exam?
I deactivated my Facebook. I uninstalled Instagram. I also deactivated my Twitter. But I have another Twitter account that only follows news, the Twitter pages of news organizations. So that's how I keep myself in the loop. So I told my friends and my family that I will only contact them when I have time. So don't disturb me. So it's really important that the people around you understands what you're going through.
Yeah.
So you don't have to explain yourself. Actually, it's already given. You need to study. You need to isolate yourself.
Yeah.
But I'm an extrovert, so I am really longing for social interaction.
Yeah.
Or else mababaliw talaga ako. So I made sure na kahit online, at least online, I catch up with friends. I ask how are they, although not very random na lang. But at least you will feel a sense of normalcy within yourself na you're still a part of this world. Yeah.
Thank you again, Attorney D.
Thank you. Okay. So this will be our last segment for today, for this afternoon. So it all begins with your why. Why I wanted to become a lawyer. Why do you want to become a lawyer? So actually, I've been asked a couple of times why I wanted to become a lawyer. It really came to me like a calling. My aunt suggested to me that I should become a lawyer because I can speak in public and engage in discussions. She also added that my loud voice fits well in a courtroom. When I heard that, I just said to myself, okay, I want that. There's really no explanation why. There was just an explicable connection that dared me to become a lawyer. Over the years, the reason behind the connection just unfolded. I experienced and witnessed bullying in high school. I was exposed to the reality that some people can be condescending, demeaning, and degrading. What made it worse is that they always get away with it. The impunity of these people is my first taste of injustice. So the experience made me realize that I needed to find my voice, to stand up for myself, or else I will always be belittled and eventually lose myself in the process. In college, as you have seen in the news, another motivation for me to continue the dream is the ruthless and the cold-blooded rape and murder of my classmate. So that event added fuel to the fire. She had a bright future ahead of her. She doesn't deserve to die like that. No one does. I was frustrated and angry. I know that someone needs to be punished for that abhorrent crime, but I was helpless. That catastrophic event served as my wake-up call and motivation to continue the dream. But this time I viewed it on a different light. Becoming a lawyer is what I meant to do. It is my life purpose. When I became a CPA, I lost track of that purpose. Since I was already earning, I thought of stopping there. But life has its way of reminding me of my purpose. I felt empty at the thought of foregoing the dream that sets my soul on fire. So I decided to finally pursue it. Fast forward to today, I can attest that the path to becoming a lawyer is not an easy one. Making it requires a lot of hard work, patience, determination, grit, vigor, and prayers. There are a number of factors that helped me achieve where I am today, but I'd like to share two things to you. Um, just give me time, wait. Yeah. That helped me through and hopefully will help you as well. So my first tip to you is don't give up. Don't give up. Constantly remind yourself why you started in the first place. Ask yourself if you can live your life without regrets if you give up. Will you be able to wake up each day without being perturbed of what could have been if you continued? I know it is difficult. If it isn't, everyone will be doing it. If the journey wasn't challenging, the destination won't be rewarding. It's the struggle, pain, and challenge that makes triumph sweeter. Remember, you didn't come this far to only come this far. You came this far so you can be strong enough to push harder. So you'll be good enough for what's ahead of you. You are already here. You are already suffering. You are already in pain. You already sacrificed a lot. So why not get rewarded for it? Constantly seek for greatness. A true winner doesn't only work for title. A true winner seeks for growth and development. Know that you are doing this not only for yourself, but more so for the people who believes in you, for the people whose lives you will touch in the future. You are destined for greatness. Do not settle. Do not give in to mediocrity. You can do it. And the next thing that I want to share with you is to fall in love with the law. Next slide, please. Okay. Don't just study the law for the sake of getting that attorney title. When you do, studying will always feel burdensome. Appreciate the law. Get to know it on a deeper level. Fall in love with it. For every topic you study, imagine how it can be applied to actual scenarios. Understand how the law affects the people's lives and their rights, how it enables transactions, how it cultivates relationships, how it maintains peace and order, how it can break down the walls between the rich and the poor, the powerful and the helpless, and how it can save this country from anarchy and oppression. When you do that, you will feel passionate in studying. Giving up will never be an option because you know that you are studying not only for yourself, but mostly for the people whose lives you will change because of that knowledge. Bring the law to life. Embrace it. Make it a part of your DNA. I know this pandemic has uncovered deficiencies not only in our healthcare system, but more so on our law enforcement and administration. The news these days are disheartening and a total head scratcher for law students and lawyers. Some people just throw their hand up in despair and concluded that the rule of law has yielded to the rule of force. Their mistrust in the justice system intensified, and their hope for our country slowly disappears into thin air. For law students, it is also understandable for you to ask yourselves if pursuing law is still worth it. Well, it is. The situation right now may not be ideal, but nothing lasts forever. This soon shall pass. When the chips are down, we need to take action. We should be in the front lines and serve as vanguards of justice. The pressure is on, the situation is urgent and critical. The time to be the catalyst of change is now. So keep reading, stay in love with the law, and one day you will change somebody else's life. So I'm ready now for some questions.
Hi, Attorney D.
Hi.
Good afternoon po.
Good afternoon.
Magandang hapon din po sa lahat nating mga viewers all around the Philippines. I'm Lorenzo Elio III, Attorney D, from Xavier University Ateneo de Cagayan College of Law, here in Cagayan de Oro City. Currently, I'm the governor for Mindanao of the Association of Law Students of the Philippines. As I was listening to you earlier, Attorney D, you mentioned earlier, no, that there are certain scenarios here in the Philippines na which are really disheartening, head scratching. You know, sometimes our people have mistrust in the justice system. So, as you also mentioned earlier, as early at the onset of this session, sabi mo nga, preparation for the bar happens not just during the review period, but also upon entering law school. Mm-hmm. So, as early as now, Attorney D, what can you advise to us law students, with regards to the important or significant values that we should possess or uphold as early as now, so that one day, okay, two things, when we take the bar, madali na lang. Second, when we become lawyers, we can uphold or have this integrity and fulfill our oath as a lawyer.
First, I think you should be firm and resolute in your values, in what you believe in. And always remember that your integrity is non-negotiable. And of course, you need to have empathy. So you don't just read the news. You absorb it and think for yourself, what can I do to solve this problem? So be involved in the society, because we lawyers are the guardians of the people's rights. As I said, we should be vanguards of justice. So as you are studying, remember and always have in mind how this can impact the layman, the ordinary people, how this knowledge will be beneficial for someone in the future. So maybe you're studying this subject right now, but one of these days you will free somebody from oppression, or you will give finally a person his liberty, his property. So you should have empathy of what's happening around you. You should be firm and resolute in what you believe in your values, and always remember that your integrity, your honesty, it should always remain intact, and do not be affected by lawyers who have violated their oath, because if no one will advocate for change, if no one will do something, then all of us will not move forward.
Thank you so much, Attorney D.
Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon, Attorney D.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Riana Dora. I'm from ALSP NCR. I'm studying at Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila. And Attorney D, earlier you mentioned that to never give up. However, sabi nila, di ba, that the bar is not a test of intelligence daw, but a test of determination. So my question is, how did you maintain that drive to keep on going? How did you fuel the fire?
Prayer really helped. And also, of course, the encouragement and the support of the people around me really helped. And in yourself, you should also know that you will not be able to live your life if you give up. Because if you give up now, like I said, you didn't come this far to only come this far. So you don't want to be in the middle of your review and then pack your things and then go home. You already suffered. You already gave a lot. You already sacrificed a lot. So giving up is just not a rational option. So always remember, bakit ko ba ginagawa to? Why am I doing this? Am I just working for that attorney title? Yun lang ba ang gusto ko? Because if you just want to have something to boast to people, then your victory will be empty. But if you have a purpose, you have something you want something to be changed, and you want to be part of the change, then giving up will never be an option.
Follow-up question, Attorney D. So were there days that you didn't have the drive to study? And in those days, how did you manage? How did you cope?
That happened to me quite a lot in law school because the demands of work and studies really exhaust me. So medyo mahirap talaga to maintain the drive to be always enthusiastic. Like I said, it helps to unwind, to take a pause, to give yourself a moment to recognize what you're feeling. You feel anxious, you feel afraid, you feel discouraged. And then ask yourself if these feelings are enough to make you give up. So it's really about being sure about what you want for yourself. Because if you don't want this 100%, then it's so easy to be discouraged always. Although, of course, there are days, but you have to constantly remind yourself why you're here.
Thank you, Attorney.
Thank you.
Magandang hapon po, Attorney D.
Good afternoon.
Pleasant afternoon to all of the viewers. My name is Rob Johnson, first-year law student in Universidad de Manila, and one of the directors of Association of Law Students of the Philippines Nationals. Attorney, my question is, which area of legal practice would you most likely to focus on? Is there like any social causes that you feel so passionate about?
Yeah, like what I said in my interviews, I feel connected and passionate about labor laws, about our employees' rights, because I have experienced for myself being a victim of the system of not giving the proper benefits to employees. So I don't want that to happen to our fellow employees who are working hard to earn a living for themselves. And I really think that if we empower our employees, if we empower the labor sector, we will have a better economy. Because most of the people in the Philippines are employees. So if we give them the proper benefits, if we take care of them more than the capital, or equally with the capital, then we will be in a better place. So that's one of the causes that I'm passionate about. And of course, women's rights and children's rights, like what I shared with my interviews and in this session. I had a friend who was a victim of rape and murder. So that shouldn't happen to anyone, to any woman, or to any person in general. It's already 2020, so we need to give everyone equal access to opportunities, to life, to their rights, and also children's rights. I love children, so it's disheartening and it's really saddening to read cases where children are involved, where they are victims of abuse and of oppression. So hopefully, I can contribute change and I can contribute something to improve the system.
Okay, follow-up question po, Attorney. And you mentioned a while ago that you have to stand out with your voice, catalyst of change. We are the guardians of people's rights. And how about for in our generation? Just like me, I'm a first-year student. And after passing the bar, do you think you would recommend to work for the government, run for politics, or just stick in for being a corporate lawyer?
I think it depends on the person, because we have different experiences, we have different passions, we have different likes. So you can't really dictate, or you can't really say that this is the better path for you. Honestly, even for me, I'm confused with the options that I have. But of course, it depends on what you believe in and where you think you will be most valuable, where you think you can contribute more to the people and to the organization or the company you will work for. So if you think that being in politics is what you're meant to do, then go for it. If you think you can better serve the people by entering politics, then go for it. Or if you think that being a corporate lawyer is more suitable for you, then it's okay. We need lawyers in different areas of practice. We don't want to confine it to just one area.
Thank you, Attorney.
Thank you.
Hi, Attorney D. It's me again.
Hi.
And hi, first po natin this afternoon. I'm Shanti from Aureliano Law, currently the Vice President and for Marketing and Communications of ALSP. And Attorney, sobrang thank you dun sa mga tips na sinishare mo sa amin. I feel like I'm being coached right now in preparation for the bar. So my question is, do you have a couple of life verses or life quotes or sayings that became part of your bar preparation that you can share with us this afternoon?
Aside from those that are in my vision wall, I have this little note that I always carry in my bag when I go to jurist. It says, live like your blood type. Live like your blood type. Be positive. So, kasi I'm be positive. So aside from that, it always reminds me to attract positive things in my life. And my wallpaper is Mark 11:24. So therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. So it reminds me to keep my faith always with me. And another one is, of course, be still and know that I am God. So mostly the verses that have guided me are these Bible quotes. Kasi I feel like God is speaking to me through this. So it helped me succeed in my bar exams because I can feel that God is with me all throughout, that he was guiding me, and he sent the Holy Spirit to help me answer the questions. So these quotes, these motivational sayings can inspire you, but like what I've said, you won't always be motivated. So after this, maybe you will feel inspired, you will feel motivated because of what I've said, but there will also come a time na di ka ma-motivate, di ka ma-inspire, you will feel discouraged. So you really need to have that discipline within you. So although these verses, these quotes will help you to constantly remind yourself of why you're here, it's also important to instill discipline in yourself for that time that you are not motivated, you are discouraged, you feel sluggish. So that's what I can tell you.
Thank you for sharing those things, Attorney D.
Thank you.
Hi, Attorney D. It's Alexis
Hi.
again. So this is in connection with finding what is your passion in going to law school. So of course, in law school we have student councils, legal journals, and of course now there is the abundance of legal aid programs that law students can participate on. So how do you see this particular extracurricular activities, and were you able to join in one of these activities while you were in law school?
I was able to join the student council when I was on my first year and second year of law school, but the demands of work became more unbearable. That's why I had to ask our president then to let go of me. And what else? I planned on joining the moot court competition, but since I was working and the practice was during office hours, I was not able to join. But I encourage those students who have time to join student councils and this ALSP and other extracurricular activities because it will give you a glimpse of the profession you're entering to, and also to be connected with other law students from other schools. By these connections, you can ask materials from them, or you can share your thoughts, or you can discuss with each other. So I'm actually envious that you have time for these things, and I really commend those students who find time to have extracurricular activities, because you don't want to be a dull law student. You want to have something that is fun in law school. So if you have time to do it, then go.
Thank you so much for this, Attorney.
Thank you. So, are there any other questions from the audience? Okay. So, first, before I end this session, I'd like to thank certain people. Of course, I'd like to thank again Rex Bookstore for arranging this webinar, and to the people behind this webinar, thank you so much. And to our panelists from ALSP, thank you so much. To everyone who joined us in Rex Bookstore's FB page, thank you for taking the time to listen to me. And I have friends who uh, uh, find time to join me even if they're not law students. So I want to thank I have here Reese, Melai, Charm, Tay Chen, and also my former boss in the SWD. I'd like to greet him a happy birthday, Sir Miko, and to my schoolmates, Jerry, Johnny. Ayan, thank you for listening. And to other people who have sent me messages of encouragement, congratulations, thank you so much. I cannot reply to you one by one, but know that I appreciate your messages and your words of encouragement. So to close this session, I'd like to say a message. So I know the uncertainty of our situation right now has taken a toll upon all of us, especially our students. I can only imagine how the students juggle the demands of online learning with the anxiety caused by the uncertainty of continuing their education. For graduating law students, the suspension of this year's bar exams delayed your plans. You may feel upset and robbed of a major milestone in your life and career, but on the brighter side of things, you are given more time to prepare. Although online classes cannot replace the usual classroom setting, you can still utilize all the tools and materials available to you to help you prepare. The world has changed drastically, but we must learn to adapt and remain resilient. There are a lot of things we cannot change, but don't let it dampen your determination to achieve your dreams. Not even this pandemic can stop you from fulfilling your destiny of becoming a lawyer. It may be delayed, but it is never denied. Hang in there. Just keep fighting. After all this is finished, you will see the fruits of your labor and you will enjoy the sweet taste of success. Good luck, future attorney. Be the change you want to see in this world. Thank you.